Hello everyone, my name is Nathan and today it's time for another episode of Factorio, and I'm actually really excited for today's episode because we're going to start the megabase. As you can see, I've upgraded the system we designed in the previous episode and I also added some features. First and foremost, everything is niftily lined up with the power, and then we also have this additional line. This is going to be where I'm bringing in the fuel for the trains, and every station will be provided with the train fuel we are currently using. In the beginning, this is probably still going to be coal, and then it's going to be directly transported to the trains. Every train line is going to create one single blue belt that I'm collecting here and bringing into the storage system. This is only going to be true for the ore. For the crafting contraptions, for instance, of course, we only need as many train stations as we need resources to produce the goods. Anyways, in order to make everything a little bit smoother, I put in some work in between the episodes. Let me just show you what I've done. First and foremost, maybe we are gonna look at that on the map. I tapped into another iron ore and actually added another smelting system. So now we have 2 additional red belts of iron ore, as you can see, and I'm kind of integrating it into the system we already have. At some points I had to upgrade to blue belts to get a better throughput, but everything is working much smoother now, and we actually have more than enough iron. Next up, we have another crafting system right here. This is just something that I added in order to make the beginning of the mega base building much easier, namely building all the belts and inserters that I'm gonna need. I'm also making the assembling machines here, but definitely the blue belts and everything was the most important. I decided to not show this process on camera because it is not very organized, and I wanted to dive into mega base building today. Our goal is going to be to get the initial resources, so why don't we go ahead and actually copy over one of these stations. Actually, let me do it from this point. It probably doesn't matter for this because it should line up perfectly anyways. Okay, let's see. This should add up. Yeah, there we go. We just do that. And now my robots are going to build this for me, and it is going to be absolutely glorious. I also reorganized my inventory a little bit. I added a whole bunch of things that I wanted to get from the logistics network, and now building this is going to be much easier. I also added a 3rd roboport. Oh, looks like this guy just ran out of charge. Never mind, it is okay again, but there we go. Robots are busy. I can have up to 75. And the building area is actually also really nice. So it is convenient now to get started with the mega base, but afterwards we're going to build a personal crafting system that is going to be absolutely fabulous. It's going to be belt based and heavily dependent on the logistic circuits. Whoops, looks like the upper part actually didn't get copied over. That is not good. Let's go ahead and do that. Wonderful. I also want to craft a whole bunch of steel chests. Let's go. I have a really good feeling about today's episode. Now, obviously, I ran out of materials, but this is the great thing now. I can just go back to my crafting system. If it is really bad, I'm just gonna take a coffee break, but there we go. We are getting tons of materials back because the system is always crafting. And yeah, it kind of niftily fits into the starter base. The starter base is still researching for me. We can see I actually researched everything except the research that now requires the white science. So I'm pretty happy with that setup to actually do something about it. It looks like I lost a bunch of robots. Yeah, let's go back to them. And back to building we go. It is as easy as that. We also need a radar. I'm gonna have a radar at every intersection here, and therefore I'm gonna have overview of the entire map. Come on guys, let's build the intersection. Where are you going? If I could change one thing about the robots, it would be that they build the thing that is closest to you first and not the thing that is furthest away. First one is coal, second one is stone, the third one here is going to be iron. So we also want to change the name accordingly and copy this over to the other stations. So now we want to take this again and copy it over one more time for the copper. I also thought what I want to do here at the bottom, and I think it's just going to be a ginormous field of solar panels, and then we're going to build everything factory towards the north and east. So we're not actually going to do any mirroring. I think it's even going to look a little bit niftier. As for the arrangement of the solar panels and accumulators, we're probably going to go with this blueprint that I made in the previous series, which was copied from Nilaus. And what we can do is just go ahead and build this, and the way this is built, we can easily tile it as many times as we wish. Yes, give me materials, that's what I'm talking about. Well, let me just get those stations finished and then we'll be back with some resource collection. We're gonna tap into several veins, especially the ones that are nearby so we can get them out of the way. Make room for expansion, not waste anything. Alrighty, we are back and I made some progress. Maybe let me show you that on the map. This base is gonna be extremely organized. I'm actually really happy with the concept we developed so far. You can also see I started to place the solar panel / accumulator area. And also this is gonna look absolutely fabulous. Just imagine everything here at the bottom is essentially gonna be filled up with that. I also made the blueprint for this and I will also blueprint one of these stations in the state we have it today. But essentially what I had to do with the blueprint is offset it a little bit in order to get the perfect grid size. So now what I can do is hold the shift button and then just do that and it's gonna be perfectly placed. Demolish all nature in the process. And just like that, we will be able to build hundreds of thousands, if not millions of solar panels with quite a bit of ease, I would say. I mean, yeah, we can just keep going. It's insane. And I guess all we have to do for now is organize those materials. And I've already laid out a truck in order to grab some iron and copper. However, I also would like to see the coal and stone being delivered. I'm actually really tempted to just take everything from here, but I guess we're gonna start here with coal and iron, grab some stone from over there, and then also tap into these. I mean, we can tap into so many since we have many stations. It's also gonna be possible to have a considerable amount of trains. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make my way over here and then we build another intersection that actually goes down in order to pick up all of these materials. And then it's all about mining and loading stations and such. So I'm just gonna take one of my intersections and then we are, I don't know, maybe at this point over here, I would like to go down. Okay, made my way back to the coal deposit. It is time to plan out the outpost for this. Okay, there we go. Not too shabby. This will give us decent results. Only red belts though, so we definitely need to tap into at least 1 or 2 more coal deposits. At every mining location, we're also gonna set up a radar, just in case. And right now, it would be really nice to have a proper design for these stations. I think what I want to do, let me see, we're gonna go ahead and make a side section here. And all I want to do is make sure we have the space for multiple trains to wait in this station. And then once we accomplish this, we can easily make our way back. Hold on, if we do this intelligently, I can actually put these things together. This is gonna be great. So you go right there, and then I have those 2 stations. Gonna clear this off forest, and we also want to use the outpost planner right there. Now, how much does this even give me? 5.2 million, not too shabby. Could definitely be a little bit better, but what you gonna do? By the way, we're almost done researching the atomic bomb. Might be interesting to eradicate some critter nests using that. Alright, there we go. Back we go. Do some more building here. Let's see what we can achieve. This game is just so satisfying, sometimes I hardly believe it. Okay then, let's get a few train stops in the joint, and at the same time I also want to decide just how many trains I'm gonna allow for this. So we are gonna set up a normal signal here, and then as soon as we have the space for another one, we're gonna do that and make sure we still have the space for the main train. So now a train can actually wait here and queue up. Of course, we still want to signal everything else, just in case something goes wrong. Okay, I think this is not looking too shabby in terms of signaling. Now it's all about adding the loading station. Now, if possible, I would like to make this a little bit easier on me by actually making a blueprint out of this, which I believe should be something we can accomplish easily. Now, eventually, for really huge deposits, it's going to be important how we actually distribute the materials, but I think for these tiny deposits, we can just do it however we like. So let's say we copy over this portion for each of the wagons. But yeah, essentially here we have our station. We can just copy that over to the appropriate spot, which is right there. And we can easily hook this up to the individual systems. There we go. Second station is done as well. Let's maybe name these guys. Every coal station is going to be L coal for load. And we want to enable a certain amount of train limits. Now, for this station here, we decided 2 trains can easily queue up. So that is what I have to write in here. There we go. It actually already started, just gave this some power. Let's see if we can hook this up to our system. Wonderful. Coal is being loaded into the chests. That means we're gonna set up the first train already. We're gonna do one per material for the time being, but we can definitely improve on that. Coal is gonna be important because I wanna use that initially in order to fuel up the trains. We're gonna switch to something else quite soon, but for now that's gonna have to do. As for the raw materials, it's always gonna be the same. We wanna load up cargo at the loading stations until full cargo, and then we want to go to depot unload coal right there, and that is going to be empty cargo. This is where they're also going to be fueled up, and I guess we can just set this to automatic. Actually, it was automatic before, and then this train should find its way to one of these stations, and it's just going to keep going until we have all of these chests full, which is going to take a while, but it's going to be good because we have a depot. So now we basically have to do the same thing for the iron, but I want to observe this train and whether or not it's working. Yeah, this is why we need multiple mining locations, especially a little bit further away, because look at that, it's just not fast enough. We want to be capable of filling up entire blue belts, no issues. There we go, just a percentage or so to go and we're done. Come on, move. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Line looking good. It's going into the first station. Not sure if that is coincidence, if it will always take the station that is closest, so they're kind of gonna fill up from the left to the right. But yeah, there we go. It is on its merry way. I also want to check, is the lighting actually working? The signaling, yeah, seems to be good. Then we go up here into the train station, unload. And we're gonna unload rather quickly, as you can see here. So that seems to be working fine. And it's going into the first row of chests, of course. Nice! Now, there's just one thing we need to make sure, namely that the coal is landing on this belt here in order to fill up all of the stations. And we kind of have to add it... let me see. Maybe we just sacrifice the first stack here. You know, what we could do is, for instance, temporarily sacrifice the first line here. And this is just gonna go down. And this is also something we eventually can get rid of once we have better fuel for the trains. But for now, this is gonna come down with me, and now we somehow have to bring it on this line. Ooh, atomic bomb has been researched, which means we can get into the juicy stuff. For instance, worker robot speed, I would like to improve that, and we're gonna use up 1,000 signs for that. So I guess for now, I'm just gonna do something like that. Let me get rid of that, and we also wanna make our way down, and then eventually I will have to fix this problem. But there we go. This is going to fill up all of our trains. Yes, wonderful. This is exactly what happens. And if we do this for all of the stations, I will never have to worry about trains running out of fuel. I believe the train is coming back already. There we go. And it is still going into the first station, of course, because it wasn't really full. And coal is now spreading slowly across all of the stations. It's going to be a slow procedure to fill everything up. But once we're done setting up more mining locations, we should be fine. Okay, wonderful. Now we're gonna do the same thing for the iron. I'm gonna set up at least one train, preferably more. You wanna load some iron until full cargo, and then you wanna depot iron, unload, and until empty cargo. Gonna give you some fuel, and you can actually go for it. Wait, are you already full? Oh, okay, that went fast. And yeah, now we're actually filling up the iron. This is great. I really love this. Now we want to go for stone and copper as well. And I think I might just do that off camera. There's some copper up here. Let's see. Stone I'm probably going to get from the bottom there. Yeah, let me just make some more progress and I'm going to be right back. Alrighty, it's time to tune back in with you. Some time has passed and you can see the stations are starting to fill up. I realized one problem is that they are filling up from the left to the right. So that might be something I will address in the future if it actually becomes a problem. The last resource we want to gather is the oil, so I already went ahead and designed a system for that. I realized we can just daisy chain one line, and at some point we're gonna bring the lines together. We then want to go ahead, store all of the oil right here in order to pump it into the trains. And now we're gonna try to come up with a system in order to store as much oil as possible. And it looks like we could do something like this and then connect all the tanks. Alright, like this, I feel like we have enough storage for the deposit. All we have to do is now connect all the pipes. So maybe we are gonna go ahead and copy over the setup. Simply a bunch of pumps to pump out the trains into the storage system here. And then we want to go up into this direction and start to connect all the pipes. Afterwards, I'm actually going to go ahead and tap into this deposit. I'm also going to extend the rails in order to pick up the fluid, and that's where we are going to meet us next. Alrighty, I made my way up here with the rails to the oil spot. It is still fresh. I took myself the liberty of pump checking it already up, and as you can see, I already placed a whole bunch of beacons that we're going to fill up with modules. I tried to distribute the pipes a little bit. It's all really one system, but it goes into different locations inside of this tank system, and it then can be easily distributed to the trains. This station is gonna be called load, and we want crude oil fluid. The train limit is gonna be 2, just like that, and I think we can go ahead and set up the first train already. Obviously this one requires some fluid wagons. There we go, and it's starting to fill up. Now for the fluid, we might want to set a time limit, especially for the unloading, in case it is actually full. But I think I'm first gonna observe this. Let's give it some initial fuel, and then we're gonna set this to automatic. It should then start to fill up and actually wait for it. Okay, let's go ahead and actually power this up. I want to use some substations to give all of these guys the power. And yeah, there we go. This should be fairly easy. And obviously we want to speed beacon everything up so it goes at a insane rate. I made sure each pump jack has at least 2 beacons, if not more. And there we go. Yeah, we can see some of them are actually going to town right now. Yeah, looks like we're not going to run into any troubles with the piping. It's all nice and empty, filling up the cargo wagon as we speak. Before I forget, we also want to set up a radar in this location because it is always a little bit precarious. There we go. We can actually see on the map the first train is coming in. Where is it? Right there. Ah, wonderful fluid. Wonderful. In the meantime, I think I'm gonna set up a second wagon. We only need to craft 4 of the fluid wagons. There you go. It's automatically being fueled. And wow. That went really fast. Now what we should be seeing is this going into the tanks here. And then one thing I totally forgot about was the logic here. So we need to connect all of these tanks to the station over here in order to determine when it is enabled or disabled. And we want to do that if we are below 50,000 units of oil. We can store 25k in each. So the total capacity of this system would be 175. So now we have 103,000 in the system, and it is this low. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with 100,000 instead of 50,000. And there we go. Yeah, wonderful. We can just copy it over like so because we're lazy. And now this should be true for all of them. Like this one has no oil. That's good. Okay. Let me copy over the train. Is it coming back already? Wow. Okay. This is actually going rather quickly with the oil. That's really nice. So we want to fuel. Yeah, that's good. And this train can now also go for it. Wonderful. This is all the raw resources that we can find in the world, except for the uranium. But I want to bring this to the future nuclear reactor location. And now this essentially means we can continue with the smelting setup, which is going to happen somewhere around here. Now, I would like to leave some space free in order to set up a train route that goes north and south. So we will actually have to move this line over, but this is very inconvenient because of the deposits here. Well, I guess what we could do is first have the smelting set up and then the axle going north and south. Yeah, possibly for today anyways. Let's see what we can do. How much space are we going to require even? And yeah, there we go. That's going to be an issue. Actually, it's not a problem because the smelting setup is going to be much smaller. For instance, we only need 4 stations, I think. So we're going to copy over 4 stations, and this is much more like it. Yeah, that's going to be the size. We're going to fill up the 4 stations with iron ore, and we are going to bring the ore up. Then we're going to smelt it, and on the top we're going to bring it back down. This means we are not going to need everything we have on the top here at the moment. Because yeah, all of this is going to happen much later. And it also means we are not going to do this with the belts. They're just going to move up and hop over the rails. Actually, it might be nicer to pair them in groups of 2. And then finally up here, we're going to bring them all together with a nice balancer. and then this here is going to be the start of the smelting setup. We somehow need to find a way to smelt 4 lines of ore, and then of course on the top we're gonna have the loading station with the rails going back down. So you can see this is gonna be rather narrow compared to the storage systems. Okay, let's activate the robots. You can start building. I'm happy with this. I have to say, building with robots just never gets old. Okay, this is gonna be unload iron ore, fairly straightforward. And we wanna come to the station if we are below 10,000 ore. Jeez, are you serious? No. Okay. I regret what we just did here. Can you not just go away? Oh, gosh, this is awful. What am I gonna do with all the copper ore? Wait a second. Maybe I can pick it up and just put it back into the trains. It's taking forever. Anyways, let me come up with a proper design. No, never mind. I'm gonna explain you exactly what I'm gonna do. We are gonna make a 12 beacon smelting setup. This means we need something like this. And I'm actually now running out of materials. Basically, we let in 1 line of iron ore. We're then gonna hop over something along these lines. We want to use stack inserters to bring things in and stack inserters to get things out the sides. We're then gonna bring all of these up, hop underground, and then we want to tile things. So this is gonna go like so. Let me just please do that. And we're just gonna make our way all the way to the top until we get 1 full belt or half a belt each for each side of smelted ore. At the very top, we're gonna bring the lines together and then we end up with 1 line. And of course, we then wanna have 4 of these contraptions next to each other. So let me see, that's gonna be something along these lines. And size-wise, what does that mean? Where do we want to put this? We still want to have the space next to the trains in order to do signals. But then again, we don't want to leave too much space on the left side. On the other side, let me see. The problem is we also have the train stations, and if we want to have 2 trains waiting, this could be a huge downer. How much space do I really need? Yeah, it looks like I need the exact space here. This is huge. Like, this doesn't really make me happy, so I think instead what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have something similar. We're just going out here. Let's see. The first thing that would happen is this continues up, and then at some point we're gonna go out again, make 2 stations like so, and then we can just bring the materials we're producing on this side. This means, theoretically... Oh, I just lost the clipboard of the beacon setup, but essentially we want to make sure we align with this guy here and also leave enough space for a train station and balancer and all that good stuff. Let me just think about that a little bit and I'm gonna be right back. Alrighty, I think I'm done with the design for the smelters. If we have a look at the ore smelter, I changed everything so that we require 9 furnaces with productivity modules and a 12 beacon setup. I didn't place the beacons or modules just yet because we will require thousands and thousands of them. Thus, this is actually going to be one of my first goals, to mass produce the modules so that we can actually build those builds. So in the beginning, I'm just gonna leave the beacons out until we have the module production under control, and then we're gonna add it and make things much faster. Now you can see this design is rather narrow. We still have the same mechanism we have for our storage systems. However, this time around, the trains can continue into this line, and this is going to be my new train station. We also have the space for 2 trains here, and because I wanted to keep things a little bit narrow, I decided to actually bring the belts all the way over here in order to load into the stations. So we start with the balancer here to get all the items nicely distributed on those 4 lines. And then each individual line is covering 2 of these belts. So 2 of these spots here are covered by 1 line with a splitter. Therefore, all of these chests are going to fill up evenly, and that's a good thing. This design would have worked if I didn't have to redesign the intersections. Let me just quickly show you the intersections. So this was the old intersection right here. The problem about this intersection is if we have a train going from north to east and one from east to north, they will have to wait for each other, even though that's not necessary. So you can see if a train wants to take this route, as long as it's still touching the blue, none of the blue can actually continue. So I had to redesign it into a better intersection. which we have right here. And you can see the only thing that I've changed is I made more space with the outer rails. So if we place this right next to it, we can observe what's actually going on here. And as you can see, the signaling is much better. We can have a train going up here and at the same time a train going down here. The same thing is true for the other direction. We can have one train coming up here and another train coming down here, and they will not stop for each other. Now this is all and good. I intentionally left enough space to accommodate for mistakes like that. So I was able to change all of the intersections with ease. However, now we have the problem that this part here is not long enough. Between each intersection you should have at least the space for one entire train. Since we don't have that now, if a train has to wait right here, you can see this is actually going all the way to here. So the next train would be waiting here if it wants to go straight, though it could still go up. So I decided at the moment, I think it's not going to be that much of an issue, but we will have to take that into consideration that eventually maybe we have to make more space for this. I still kind of want to try it because I like the narrow and long designs, and this just fits perfectly in here. We have the space for a beacon on the left and the right, and it's going to be absolutely perfect this way. So yeah, I would say to wrap up this episode, we're gonna set up 2 trains to ship the ore over here. You get a bunch of wagons and you get a bunch of wagons. Gonna give them a stack of coal each, and then I think we can already program them. We want to go to depot load for the iron ore. Yeah, it's those stations here at the bottom. U iron ore. Okay, it should be good, should be good. At station U iron ore, it's just blue because not all of the U iron ore are actually connected to this rail system. So until empty cargo, yeah, it should be good. Let's just run it. And actually, hold on, I want to copy that to the other train here as well. And then we're going to run that too. Wonderful. Train is coming up to the ore station. So far, so good. This should go fairly quickly to load it up. And yeah, look at that. It's like 30 seconds, not even. And we have all of this spare ore available to us, which is great. All of these chests act as a buffer. And in times of need, we can load up multiple trains. And there we go. It's already coming back. So now we can observe the unloading. It is going into the balancer here, distributing the ore nicely, and then we are starting to smelt. Let's see if that actually works. Oh, I think I forgot to merge them on the top. Yeah, check this out. I totally did. So what we actually want to do is bring this up here. Hold the phone. There will be a beacon somewhere. Okay, I guess that was kind of my bad. We will empty those in just a second. Okay, now we're getting the iron plates exclusively. That is good. I'm gonna recollect the iron ore. Wonderful. That's exactly what I wanted to see. Obviously, this is not going to be enough throughput. Eventually, we're gonna fill up all these lines, and it's just dependent on the beacons and modules. But yeah, I would say with that out of the way, we're gonna wrap it up for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. Have a great time, and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.